because when I was diagnosed in 72.
Stuck with me. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Guess who's here with me in Arizona? It's my mom. And we realized in filming this video that we have two different sized torsos, because apparently I'm a little taller. Even though we're sitting on the same exact chair in the same exact spot.
Yeah, and I'm like 4 inches taller than you.
Not in your torso, you're not.
I guess
we learned that today. Okay.
Who knew?
So, I thought it would be fun to film a video of us, well, me, for us. I thought it would be fun to film a video of asking my mom questions about what it was like to be diagnosed with diabetes in the 70s. Is that when you were diagnosed?
That's when I was diagnosed.
What year were you diagnosed?
I was diagnosed in 1972. 50 years ago.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
You're over the hump in diabetes
Yeah,
years. It's downhill from here.
Yeah. I hit the 50 mark club.
When were you diagnosed, in April?
April of 72. Yeah,
Dang.
It was like right before Easter, I remember, because my mom had to try and figure out what to put in my Easter basket.
Dang. I
Instead
remember
of
when I
candy.
was little, you guys put Nintendo games in my.
Well, my mom put eyeshadow, like one of those. It looked like a watercolor palette,
Yeah.
but it was eyeshadow.
That's kind of
And
cool.
I think I wore like bright baby blue.
And you probably kept it from your sisters.
Of course.
Yes.
Is it now?
Anyway, so I thought this would be a fun video to film. I'm gonna ask her, I have like 5 questions to ask her. Well, 4 now, because I kind of already asked her the first one. And 2 side notes, if you hear yelling, I live next to a soccer field where they're having a tournament today. So that's what that is. And if my hair looks crazy, it's because I just took a shower. So I'm a clean person.
Which is a good thing.
Yes. All right, so my first question for you is, what kind of insulin did you take when you were diagnosed in 1972?
Well, basically they only had, I guess it was NPH, long-acting and regular. And it was U40. And you guys may not know that there ever was a U40 or
I didn't know
U40 and what's a U80. So basically the U40 was there's only 40 units. I don't even know if I know what this is. 40 units in 1 cc. Because now...
What's a cc? Is that a vial?
No, like a vial is 10 cc's.
Oh.
1 cc of U100, which is what we've been using now which is probably all most of you have ever known, is 100 units, so it's more concentrated in a cc. The U40 only had 40 units, and the U80 was like a step up. It was 80 units in 1 cc. So you had to take less volume-wise.
Wow.
Yeah, and 40 and 80 aren't really like round numbers to divide. 100 is sort of like a couple of decimal points.
Yeah.
U40 and 80, and you had to make sure you know which one you were taking, because one was twice as strong as the other.
Yeah.
And if you took the wrong one, or the wrong amount.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the NPH, people still take NPH. It was the one that had a peak at about 6 to 8 hours. So you take it in the morning.
To compare that to insulin now, that peaks at like 2 hours now.
Well, right
or
now you've
30.
got regular, and you've even got the ones
like
that are
super
faster
fast.
than regular, like Fiasp. So, but the NPH, you took it, and what people would do is they would take a combo. You could mix the insulin, so you take a combo of regular and NPH in the morning.
Yeah.
The regular would cover your breakfast, and then the NPH would cover your lunch, but you had to eat at the right time compared to when you took the insulin. Like, so if you're in school and you had 5th period lunch one year, and then the next year you had 4th period lunch.
I have a dumb question.
What do you do? Yes.
Did you have calculators back then?
When
did calculators
we did,
come
but we
around?
didn't use them.
Oh, really?
And it was sort of like, well, once you took your NPH in the morning, you had to eat around, you
Yeah.
know, and it often didn't coincide perfectly. So you were just stuck,
Yeah.
you know?
Yikes.
Yeah. So it wasn't, you couldn't be super precise.
Yeah.
That's just how it was. You know, and then all like gym class, if you had gym class and you already took your MPH, then it was like, oh well.
Did you have to go to the nurse's office to do all this, or did you carry
Well,
it
you
with
took
you?
it all. Well, you took it all in the morning before you left the house.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you didn't have any
Jeez
with
Louise.
you. Yeah, and we didn't. You know, I know one of your questions coming up is how did you check your blood sugar?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I was in, you know,
That is my next question: is how did you check your blood sugar back then? Because there was no
You didn't.
one drop. You didn't.
You didn't. When I was first diagnosed, all you had was urine testing. And so if you know, ate in the morning, you knew, like if you checked first thing in the morning, that urine had been sitting in your bladder overnight.
Uh-huh.
If your blood sugar was high or low.
It could have been from like hours ago.
Right.
So you really had to rely on how you felt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And then, I don't remember exactly when we got the first blood sugar monitors. That was a big jump, you know, and it was all prick your finger, you know. I guess my fingertips have recovered by now.
Yeah, I
But
only
we
check my blood sugar on my left hand.
Do you?
I never ever, for probably my whole life, I checked it on
Yeah.
my right hand.
Yeah, I
Is
check
that
it on
weird?
my left
And
hand
only
too.
on these 3 fingers.
And you're a lefty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a righty, and I always check it on.
Let us know in the comments if you're diabetic, if you only check your blood sugar on one hand. Just fun fact.
But you know, most of us probably remember before Dexcom or any of the other the continuous monitors, but you had those tiny little dots in your fingertips.
Yeah.
You know,
I used to have like
gazillion
huge
of them.
calluses.
Yeah.
And I would like pick them off because I'd be like, ew.
So, yeah. So whenever that happened, that was a huge advancement.
Yeah.
That you could check your fingers, you know, check your blood.
Yeah.
I mean, urine was like pretty worthless. It really
Right.
was. It really was. So,
So there was, you had NPH insulin, which was like
take in the
hard.
morning and hope you eat
And
at the right
hope-
time.
and you use your urine to check your blood sugar.
Right. Which, you know, you realize after not too long that, like, what the hell? It's not telling
So when
me
did
anything.
you first,
It's not telling
when
me
did
what
the
I'm doing
meters
now.
first come out?
I don't remember,
No.
to be honest.
Yeah.
Probably maybe when I was in college,
Yeah.
which would have been 78 to 82.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But even that, you know, nobody knew what that was. You know, you had to go to the nurse's office to do it.
At college?
No, not
Oh.
if you were at school.
Yeah.
You know, anything you did in the classroom was. But I remember working as a physician, being the doc for a school.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they wouldn't let kids.
You were a doc from my school.
I was. We were very.
She still never let me stay home when I was sick.
No. You have to draw a line somewhere. But there was a girl who was in high school ahead of you, and we had to fight so hard to let her check her sugar in the classroom
Yeah.
because they were worried about HIV and hepatitis B. She was tested for all these things. She didn't have them.
Yeah.
But they were so worried about that, you know, and I don't know how it was when you were in high school, if you could check your blood sugar.
Yeah, I was
Or
just
you had to
thinking
go to
about
the
that.
nurse.
I think when I was little, I think I was too irresponsible to carry my own thing because I just was like a little kid, like, whatever. But
Right,
I
so the
think
nurse
I
had it.
always had it with me. I can't really remember. I think I always had it with me in high school.
Yeah.
I remember I used to go to the nurse's office when I was low, i.e. I was getting out of class.
You like the nurse.
I definitely used
You always were good friends with the nurse
Yeah.
at school.
Yeah. I don't remember the middle. I didn't like the middle school nurse. I remember that. Whatever. This is not about me. It's about you. So, we answered the first 2 questions.
Yeah.
The third question is around what year or maybe when do you remember a time in your life when when diabetes technology started popping up, like an insulin pump or?
Well, I started hearing about insulin pumps probably before, it was probably like 1992, 93. You were born in 1994, and I remember...
90s baby.
Yeah, so what I remember, I had gone to my endo before I got pregnant saying, okay, I want to get pregnant now. You know, let's get my blood sugar under super good control beforehand. So, you know, we did that, got my A1C.
And pumps probably weren't approved for pregnancy back then.
Well, no, they weren't. They were new enough that they didn't want to, you know, they were sort of too high risk to use in a pregnant person.
Yeah.
And now they use them all the time, obviously.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to, you know, no, you were too high risk. And, you know, the first things you heard about them were, oh, people die because pump, like, gave them too much insulin or something, you know. I don't know.
Which is crazy because now we have the pumps. I mean, my pump that totally gives more, gives less. It has a brain. It has a brain.
Right. Yeah.
I'm gonna clip it back in here.
So yeah, so that was always like the dream.
Yeah.
I mean, first the dream was when you didn't have to check your blood sugar. You know, no more finger sticks. That was like huge. And then
you're talking about with the Dexcom.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
when did that come out? I don't even know. I remember I was on the Dexcom in middle school, and then I did not enjoy it, and so I went off of it.
Well, it wasn't.
And they kept calling me, and I ignored every call.
You had to carry around this little oval shaped
receiver
thing.
Yep.
Right. And
you had to calibrate it.
Right. And I don't think they were as accurate as they were now.
Yeah.
Because it would always be like your blood sugar 15 minutes ago.
Right.
And I remember, you know, because I used it for a while, and I had this.
We used it at the same time, I think.
Yeah, I had this sort of elastic belt that I would wear because it had to be within a specific.
Yeah, you had to like always keep it in your pocket, sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember trying to see patients, and I had this thing, and I would always feel my lows before the Dexcom would tell me I'm low. So I'm like, I told my doctor, it's not really telling me anything I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, the highs maybe, but I was more interested in knowing about the lows.
Right.
So I think I stopped using it for a while.
Yeah.
You know, so that was like the G4 maybe?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yep.
I don't remember the numbers before that.
I think that it started there.
It might have.
Or it was called something else before.
There was a G3 or a G2. But I wasn't using it then. Yeah. So then I stopped using it for a while, and then I think you went back on it.
You and I went back on it on the same time. Our appointments were a week apart.
G5.
We both went on it in
G5.
November 2017, and we both went on tandem November 2017.
Right.
Which is when I started my Instagram page, which is where you guys came into my life. So we're kind of
wow.
Yeah, that's like 5 years ago. So you started noticing diabetes technology become maybe more of a thing in the early 90s?
Well, and it depends on what you call technology.
Pumps.
You know? I mean, pumps, glucometers were technology to make.
Sure.
You
but
know?
You earlier said that you didn't remember quite when that.
I don't know when that was, but that was, you know, and it's been slow, the progress through technology. You know, it seems like it's picking up as just technology is getting better and electronics are getting smaller, and, you know, then when your Dexcom, you could do it on your phone. If you had an iPhone, it was a huge thing.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't have the receiver on your phone.
I don't know that even when I switched to the G6, I don't have a receiver for it even. I had one for the G5
I think
that I never used.
I might have a receiver, but why would I use it, you know, if you have the phone? So, so all of that, I mean, that's huge. And it's happening, you know, relatively quicker than it did back in the day. But that's just so many things with technology. You know,
I find it, like listening to you, it makes me appreciate our technology now, even if it's failing and like whatever, it's off. I mean, technology is technology. It's not perfect. So I appreciate your stories of horror.
And, you know, well, and just the I'm on the Omnipod now, so
Yeah.
they just came out with their.
New Horizon. Oh, that's my game that I play.
They don't. It was
think
going to be
Animal
called
Crossing
Horizon.
New Horizons.
It's called Omnipod. Oh, and I don't want to
5?
mess up.
I know what you're talking about.
Omnipod something G6. It's got G6 in it, and I don't want to. It might be called Omnipod.
Omnipod 5. That's what
I don't want to
mess up
give it
my
the
words
wrong
all
name
the
because
time. Well, the newest Omnipod system.
yeah,
Okay, we don't need to
that actually talks to
your Dexcom.
Your Dexcom, and
Similar to my Control IQ.
and it's got something like Control IQ
or Basal IQ. I mix the names up.
Yeah.
Okay, so that leads nicely kind of into my last question, which is, how do you feel having all of this diabetes technology at your fingertips now compared, like, do you feel like you kind of can't believe where we are now compared to where you were? How do you feel?
Well, it's funny because, they've been, they being, the powers that be in research have been sort of promising a cure for type 1 for ever. Yeah, ever since I was diagnosed. So I would say better late than never.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing when you look at just the
when
history.
you compare your experiences to mine. Even.
Insulin was only discovered in 1940.
Yeah.
20 years before I was born. That's a pretty short window.
Yeah.
And people used to have to boil syringes. I mean, plastic syringes were a big advance. Now they have the syringes that come in much smaller increments.
And syringes that are even like their own sharps container.
Right.
It's just crazy.
And just, you can get much smaller needles, shorter needles.
Smaller doses, bigger doses,
right.
micro doses.
The increments on the syringes are, you can take a half a unit. You could never do that before. There was a whole unit. It was all very inexact and not very precise. So all of that has improved.
Yeah.
And immunology and those sort of things are still advancing as well. So it is sort of an immune system problem with the diabetes and with anything with pancreas transplants and stuff.
Yeah.
So all of that is advancing. This kidney pancreas transplants have been around for a long time. Doing both of those at the same time. So there's a lot of change. And I don't keep up with the research, the very, very latest research, so I'm not a good one to speak to that. But so people have way more at their fingertips now. And the thing that you and I talk about often is that I think is a great advantage that people have now is just social media. Diabetes can be very isolating. And there was no social media back then, so you always felt like you were like the only kid in school, and you always pretty much were. You were the only kid in your school who had diabetes, and everybody thought that all diabetes was type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, and that you got it from eating too much sugar.
And that still goes on,
Yeah.
People assume.
Yeah.
And,
assuming makes an ass out of you and me.
And now it's funny, as I get older, when I tell people I have diabetes, they assume I have type 2.
Yeah.
Because now I've got the gray hair and, I'm like...
Which looks great, by the way.
Well, thank you. But...
She's a foxy lady.
But,
fox.
they, and sometimes I'm like, I have type 1, and whatever. But, those are the things we'll always...
deal with.
Yeah, we'll always have with us. But no, I think that, the power that you have in just talking to other people with type 1.
Yep. Relating.
Yeah, I mean, if all you ever see is doctors, which is kind of what I was, you know, the only people that talk to you about your diabetes with doctors, they all, you know how doctors are. We all know how doctors are. It's like, why is your A1C so high?
What was your blood sugar? Why was your blood sugar 400
You live with this disease
last Tuesday?
And let me see how you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy, and that's okay. You have to we all have to face up to the fact that it's not easy, but we learn from each other, and just knowing that there's other people out there struggling or have found a good way to do something, you know, have found a successful way to exercise with diabetes, and everybody's different, but there are things that you can learn from other people.
Yeah.
So I think that's like one of the biggest things.
Yeah. Well,
So.
great. Well, to end this video, I would like to congratulate you on living so long with diabetes and going through the mud. It is a great triumph. I don't know if you would call it that, but I would call it a triumph. Thanks for keeping yourself healthy so you can hang out with me more.
Let's go shopping.
Let's go shopping. But yeah, congratulations on
Thank you.
making it this far.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like
And
it's
too many more.
It's been it's been a long road, but you know.
But it's a sprint. It's not a marathon. It's a marathon.
I think
it's not a
I think
sprint.
it's the other. Yeah.
Cool.
No, and I never thought I was going to be able to have a child, because when I was
And then
diagnosed
she
in
got
72,
stuck with me.
they're like, yeah. I remember them telling my mom, yeah, she'll probably never have kids. You know, she probably won't live that long. And I'm like, oh. So.
And then I came along and there was only one of me because I was too much to handle.
Yeah, I know.
Personality-wise.
I did one pregnancy. My doctor said, you want another one? I'm like, oh no, thank you. I think I'll do one. You were only a baby then, so I had no idea what I was in for. But yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Let us know in the comments if what year you were diagnosed. I'm sure there are some other how do I phrase this?
Oldies but goodies.
90s diagnosis or 21st
70s?
20th century how do the centuries work? I'm sure there are some people who were also diagnosed around the time that my mom was, or shortly after, or maybe before. Let us know in the comments. And that is everything. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I upload every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. And
3:15 is an odd time.
yeah. Well, that's why it's not that time. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. She will not. But
No.
goodbye.
Bye, everybody.